but there is something going on bigger than all of us in breath that we don't fully comprehend. It works.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rob Dubé, and I am here with Gino Wickman. Gino, good to see you today.
You as well, my friend.
All right, so today, deep breath. We're going to explore something very simple. We just did it, your breath.
Wow.
Very powerful. So most driven people that I come into contact with have very busy minds. Lots of ideas, lots of thinking for the future, lots of planning, lots of solving, lots of striving. Sound familiar, anyone? Mm-hmm. But it's important for you to come back to the present moment, to your true self. And by bringing awareness to your breath, you connect your mind, your body, and your spirit. You remember that you don't need to control everything in life, and then you can let life simply breathe through you. In August of 2025, our True Self Mastermind experienced a powerful breathwork session with a great friend of ours and a guide, Mark Wooster. Shout out to Mark. And it was incredible to watch what unfolded. Now, keep in mind, we did this on Zoom. Every person felt something shift during this hour-long experience. The breath for them revealed a certain level of truth. It was emotional for people, and it brought them stillness in ways that words couldn't even explain for many of them. This is all from their breath, okay? So if you haven't done breath work, we're not just going to really talk about breath work today, but it's just how powerful your breath is. So what I'd like to do is start with some high-level benefits of consciously breathing, just so you, the listener, if you're not familiar with this, you can kind of see, like, why are we doing an episode on this? Like, what the heck? Okay, so let me do that, and then I have some questions for you, okay, Gino? So first thing is, when you focus on your breath and you breathe in a particular way, it reduces your stress and it lowers your stress hormones. It actually improves your focus. It actually activates areas of the brain responsible for focus. It improves your mood. So conscious breath work and or paced breathing quickly can do this to you in a short period of time. It lowers your blood pressure. It regulates your heart rate. It helps you sleep better. We could even recommend consciously breathing before going to bed. And it purges toxins. It brings more oxygen into your body, and ultimately, it connects you to all that there is. You want peace, don't you? You can't think your way to peace. Peace is useful when you are focusing on your breath and coming back to the present moment. So a question that I have for you, Gino, is how aware are you of your breath throughout the day? Just your regular breathing.
Mm-hmm. So I would say in the last year, very aware.
Okay.
And I would suggest I'm probably aware of my breath total of an hour a day.
Okay.
Cumulatively. And 20 years ago, 0. So I'm evolving around this. And I guess I want to start with a broad statement, and that is, it works. So there's something about it that works. And I'm going to say something kind of crude in terms of my approach to life. But when I find something that works, I don't care how or why it works. I just do it because it works. And even creating a system like EOS, it's like, I don't know all the science and psychology behind why that tool I created works in business. I just know when you do this thing, it works. So, I'm going to come at this kind of very high level, and then there'll be some specifics, but all I can tell you is it works. It is magic. There is something about breath. I'm holding back on these words I want to say just yet. It's coming, I promise. And it might be one of the backfill things, but there is something going on bigger than all of us in breath that we don't fully comprehend. It works.
Okay. So a question I have for you you may or may not have the answer, is have you ever paid attention to just the cadence of your normal breathing?
100%.
Do you know what it is in terms of you were to put time on it?
You're saying in and out time?
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I think, the other 23 hours, well, let's not say sleeping because it's normal when you're sleeping. Okay, it's automatic. Your nervous system's managing it when you're sleeping. During the day, yeah, I would guess mine is probably half what it's supposed to be in terms of how fast I breathe in and how fast I breathe out, other than the hour that I'm aware, and it's greatly reduced.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So I worked with a breathwork expert, and he had me time my normal breathing, which was about 2 in, 2 out. And it's really supposed to be more like 5 in, 5 out. So I'm a shallow breather. It turns out many people are. I did not realize
and just
that.
to grab that, that's my exact point. So that when I say half, that's probably exactly what mine is.
So what he's had me work on over the past year is 5 in, 5 out. And I bring this up because it was just such a simple thing. I didn't have to go anywhere for this. There's nothing to buy. There's nothing to do. It's just, bringing awareness throughout the day to, wow, I'm breathing more like 2 in, 2 out, and moving it to 5 in, 5 out. And boy, what a difference it makes. It's huge.
And that's what's happening for me. And that hour of consciousness around it is being aware and slowing it way down.
So what I want to recommend and challenge sort of you, the listener, if you're not doing this, practice breathing in and out at a 5-second cadence. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did that a little fast. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do it for like
so it should
3
sound
to 4
like this.
minutes.
Is that about 5 seconds each?
That's perfect. So, and just try it and see if you notice a difference. Another thing that was a suggestion was to remember to come back to the breath is actually set an alarm like on your phone or something, just as a indicator. Oh my gosh, like come back to my breath now and do the 5 cadence. And ultimately the goal is that's your normal cadence. That's your normal. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. Anything else coming up for you?
So here's where I'll now jump to my notes. I want to start with, there's an amazing book, that probably woke me up the most 3 or 4 years ago called Breath or Breathe.
Yeah, James Nestor.
How do you pronounce it? Breath or breathe?
I thought it was breathe.
Yeah, but it's funny. Everybody says it different.
Yeah.
So it's Breath or Breathe. Amazing book. So if you want to really get into the science of all of this,
Yes.
Which is irrelevant to me, but it was very profound and helpful. And then breath work is like, I hate to call things fads because hopefully this is going to stick forever. These breathing exercises have been around for 10,000 years, so there's nothing new here. But it is very, very popular now, all the different types of breath work. But so now I'm just going to rip through my notes and I'll pause where you want to pause and add something. But I'm going to start with my big statement, okay? Because I'm just going to share what I'm convinced of. And again, this is just one person's opinion, but you said the word life, so I'm going to start there. I believe breath is life. And then you said something else. You said breath connects our body, mind, and spirit. And I believe that. And I'm going to go all the way to the big statement. I believe breath is spirit, and I believe breath is God. Okay, and so it's like you can't, if you really think about it. Okay, so without it, for 2 or 3 minutes or 4, we die. Okay, like what else? Like we can live without water for a few days, food for a few weeks. But for some reason, no air, we die quickly. So with that said, that brings up the thought of, if that's true, who knows, then that is our life force. And what a big shift in terms of how we view it. And then I can't help think about the universe and how we're all connected and how these trees, these things all over the planet emit oxygen and give us life, and so we are all connected. These trees are keeping us alive. So anyway, that might be too heavy of a thought, but that's like what came to me so clearly not too long ago. So again, that was the big thought. Now here's just a couple little nuggets. So here's another wild thing. Again, I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works, but it can't be a coincidence. So breath work, and you talk about Mark Worcester, so The reason we brought Mark Worcester into our mastermind is because I went and did one of his workshops at an EO event, and my wife and I went, and it was incredible. We went through his whole breath work. And there were 60 of us in a room laying on yoga mats, and this can be explained and experienced 1,000 other times, but during a breath work experience with somebody that really knows what they're doing, you, for some reason, have a hallucinogenic experience, which is the same as plant medicine, which is the same as deep meditation, which is the same of all forms of dissolving the ego, okay? And so, the gentleman sitting next to my wife and I, we get done, we start talking, he's crying his eyes out, and in his experience of breath work, he went all the way back to his birth. With his parents, he has a very strained relationship. And he saw his birth, meeting his mother for the first time, and saw the challenge in their relationship. I mean, it was transformative. How the fuck does that happen? By breathing, okay? So there's something more going on here. Do with that what you will. Then you already touched on some of these things, but, so what I've learned for me, I mean, just try it out there. My doctor calls it mini breaks, and so he's saying throughout the day, take a bunch of mini breaks and just breathe. If you do that for 30 seconds, do what Rob said, slow your breathing down. It's magical. But if this is how it works for me. If I'm ever amped up, my tectonic plates are shifting, I'm tense. Once the second I feel that, I drop my shoulders. I did an episode on this, and then I just breathe, and you just calm down. What is that? It works. Try it. It's incredible. It transforms everything in that moment. Meditation, before meditation, I do 4, 5, 6, 7 deep breaths, and that gets me into meditation faster. Last couple things, sleep, okay? And so like Rob already said, if you can't sleep, you wake up at 2 a.m. and you can't sleep. So many different forms of this, but I just saw one recently that I've been trying that works. All forms work, but it's about breath. And so you're laying there in bed, you're tossing and turning, you can't sleep. Just focus on your breath. But the way this gentleman explained it is he said, focus on your breath, breathe in, and then breathe out. Take twice as long to exhale. So slow down your exhale, relax your tongue, and focus on your feet. Okay, and it's incredible. Like I'll go out in like 2 minutes with that one, but it's all breath, all breath, all breath. And then the last thing I wrote down is, so every podcast episode, I have my 7 points here, that ground me into getting ready for this podcast. And what's number 2 on the list? After slow down and be in the synchronicity pocket, number 2 is breathe. So before every episode, you just take a few deep breaths, and man, I am like centered and ready to go. And so there's some things that came to mind for me.
So this here, that's the sound of all my notes because you just hit everything.
Oh, how nice is that?
Great job. I love that riff. I do want to leave the listeners with a couple of practical things. First of all, you mentioned one of them, the book Breath or Breathe by James Nestor. Mm-hmm. He also has a bunch of YouTube videos that you could go listen to. I'm sure he's all over the place. Oh, yeah. Different types of breathing. Breathing through your nose is a really important aspect of this. So please check into that. Dr. Andrew Weil, who is an integrative medicine doctor. He has a process that he created called 478 that can help you reset in the middle of the day. Gino mentioned something about pausing in the middle of the day. So it's simply breathing in on a count of 4, holding for a count of 7, and then breathing out for a count of 8 and just doing it 4 times. I mean, you can literally do that when this podcast is over and just try it out. Breathing in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8, and do it 4 times. So that's another practical thing that you can experiment with. And that's all I had. So do you have something?
I do.
Yes.
I have one more thing
Good.
that I want to say. So you gave, a couple disciplines, 6 of those, 7 of those, 5 of the, I have heard 40 different breathing techniques. And so what I would say, what I would want to put out there is just do it. It's like box breathing, 4, 4, 4, 7, 2, 1. I don't know what the right formula is, but everybody's got a fucking opinion for how to do it. All I would suggest is just breathe 10 times a day, take 30 seconds and just breathe. And that's going to be 90% of all these other ways of doing it, but they're all great. Pick the one that works for you, but don't twist yourself in a knot trying to figure them all out. Just breathe 10 times a day. Focus on your breath. It will be transformative.
Love it. Okay.
Nice breath.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time. And as always, stay focused and much love.
Thank you for listening in today. We truly appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, and please tune in for the next episode. Until then, we wish you all the best in freeing your true self. Stay focused and much love.